Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Traders Summit. And once again, I have Gareth Soloway from In the Money Stocks, President, Chief Technical Officer, Chart Master Chart Technician. How you doing? How you doing, Gareth?
I'm doing awesome, Blake. Thanks for having me back. And yeah, there's a bunch of things I do. I wear a lot of hats, but I love just studying those charts and trying to get some good trades.
You know what? And you're really masterful at it. So I'm excited to talk to you about it. These tricky markets. I mean, this has been, I was, just before we hit the record button here, I was just saying how this market's been so volatile. It feels like every trading session feels like a week. It almost seems like.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, as someone who I'm day trading, I'm swing trading, and we're doing crypto, we're doing stocks, and it's exhausting, frankly. I mean, a Monday should be, you should be refreshed, but by the end of Monday, I'm like, all right, is it Friday yet to get a little downtime? But at the same time, it's exciting that you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there's been periods in the market where the market just goes up a little bit, 0.2% every day for months on end, and you just kind of get lulled to sleep. This certainly isn't that type of environment.
Yeah, it is, and you got to make hay while it's raining, sun is shining. Gosh, how does that go? I'm just kidding, but really, these markets are volatile. They're providing a lot of opportunities, and one of the things that you and I have talked about in the past. You had a downside target in Bitcoin of 20,000, and it's a logical downside target, big breakout point, multi-year breakout. Well, it was a big breakout point at that time. But Bitcoin is actually held in a little bit better than I would have expected in a risk-off environment over the last several, actually, I could even say all of 2022. It's just kind of stabilizing at these levels. Hasn't broken down, hasn't really recovered. So do you feel that the 20,000 Bitcoin is still a logical target at this stage? Or do you think that might be even a bigger recovery beyond, let's call it 45, 50,000 in the future before we head lower? What are your thoughts with Bitcoin at this point?
Yeah, so we have seen Bitcoin kind of go sideways and chop, it's interesting. If we take a look at the chart here, the chart really describes exactly what's going on. And I can kind of educate people on what it means. So we had the big move down from 69,000 basically to 33,000. Again, that happened to be a perfect parallel line. This white line connecting the highs from April to November, perfectly parallel connecting the lows. So you can see how recently we've hammered on it twice, once here, and then this was where the invasion of Ukraine kind of started, I believe, and kind of got crazy there. And again, notice how you had this one big update where you heard about a lot of the oligarchs starting to put their money in Bitcoin to avoid sanctions. But then again, we've seen it come back in. And basically, the idea here is that, yes, it's a risk-off environment, but from where we were in January, you're starting to see more and more worry about the global economy. And what does that mean? Well, it means the Fed may not be as aggressive in raising rates. And I think that explains why Bitcoin isn't getting crushed. And if you look at the tech sector, if we look at the NASDAQ 100, which trades very similar to Bitcoin, notice here was your low, and same thing, you've rallied off, you're coming back in now, but you haven't taken out those lows. So because the Fed may not have as much energy or stamina to raise rates, you're starting to see technology get a little bit of money flow. Now, again, I still think ultimately it goes down. I mean, let's just talk basically here is that the chart on Bitcoin is making what we call a megaphone pattern. And if I show it again, I can kind of describe to you guys what a megaphone pattern is. So you have the big move down here on Bitcoin, straight down to 33,000. And then you have this here and this here. And see how it's kind of getting a little bit further apart. You have the down move, up, down, up, down. That's what we call a megaphone pattern. Now, when you're coming off of a big drop like this, that's actually what we call bearish consolidation. And the probabilities dictate that eventually you do break the downside support. And that's where my 20,000 or even sub 20,000 target comes in. So I do still think we're going down there. The chart's actually starting to tell us that, inevitably, something will give in the Russia conflict, whether it's peace or just some sort of resolution. And then my thinking is that the Fed will have to come in because of this added inflation with oil going up, wheat going up. It's going to create more inflation in the system. The Fed is going to have to be even more aggressive over the next 6 to 12 months. That's going to come put pressure on Bitcoin and risk assets for the next leg lower.
Okay, so let's hold on your charts really quick, because you just brought up something that I really would like to talk about. Crude oil is touching levels we haven't seen since what, 2008 ish. Yeah. I want to say it was 2008, 2009, somewhere up there. And crude is ripping. Now it's obviously come off a little bit today, but what do you make of crude in the current environment? I mean, obviously there's a lot of macro parts that are in play right now, but what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, remarkable move. I still remember last night when the futures opened and oil, right away, oil was almost at $130 a barrel. Incredible. Now, we have seen a big reversal here back to 117.75. You're still up a couple dollars on the day, but it certainly isn't the crazy 13% move that we saw in the overnight at one point. Now, what's going on here is you obviously have the worry, right? So fear and greed drive markets. And in this case, the fear that maybe the world kind of says, hey, we will not buy Russian oil anymore, is driving price up. I'm kind of counter trend in this. I believe that what's going to happen is you're going to see demand destruction. So meaning that the high price of oil is making people in the US here. And I've even talked to people out there and they're already saying, you know what, maybe I don't want to drive to my parents' house 1,000 miles away, because that's going to cost me X amount of dollars to fill up my fuel tank. So you're already seeing the demand destruction. Now put that on a global basis. And then you have to start thinking that with the midterms coming, there's definitely going to be some sort of push to either do a nuclear deal with Iran, which will ultimately allow them to sell more oil on the open market. Maybe Venezuela. I've heard that the U.S. officials are meeting with Venezuela. There's going to be something that's going to be done here to bring oil down. So with demand destruction and potentially these other avenues, you have to think that oil is likely going to pull back here. And that doesn't even go into the possibility that there's some sort of positive resolution with the invasion of Ukraine with Russia that could also add additional oil, or at least take expectations down of high oil price. So really wild stuff, guys. But again, I am short oil here. I am short. I'm actually underwater a little bit here from where I started shorting in the last couple of weeks or so. But certainly I do think you're still heading back to probably the 100 or sub 100 level.
Gareth, I'm glad you brought that point up, because I've been trying to scream from the rooftops, no matter what interview I'm doing, no matter if I'm doing analysis with my trading group of people, in today's environment, there's a lot of volatility, and said, hey, I shorted crude oil a little bit lower. I'm underwater, but I'm still maintaining the position. Yeah. In the current environment, how important is position sizing to you as a trader with all the volatility that we're seeing in the markets?
It is amazingly important, more so than at any point since 2008, 2009, because you have to look at the VIX, right? The VIX tells us how much volatility is in the system. There was one point a couple of years ago where the VIX got under 10. I mean, there was no volatility in the system. That environment, you can do bigger position sizes because you're not going to get the crazy swings. In this environment, whether it's oil, whether it's stocks, I mean, you have stocks today alone that were down 10%, then rallied up, and we're talking mega caps here, like $50 billion, $100 billion market caps that are swinging 10% intraday. Yeah. I mean, that type of volatility, you're going to get wiped out if you use leverage, let alone, making sure it's the proper percentage of your portfolio. So you got to be careful. What I do is before I enter a trade, I say, okay, how much money will I allocate to this trade if it's a full position, right? And then what I do is I say, okay, now I'm going to divide it into 4 segments, and I'm going to start with 1/4 of that. And that dips my toe in the water. And then it enables me to kind of, if I'm not getting the exact low of a buy, I can then average down, but never go over that full amount of that I was willing to commit. And that really is helpful in these volatile times, because when you do get that mega bounce or big pullback, you're going to be in the money very, very quickly.
Gareth, that's the type of trading advice I love to hear from seasoned pros like yourself. Make sure that you're watching your position size. Make sure you know your risk at all times, and really, really, take that into account in days like today. So, and in markets like that we're dealing with right now. So, Gareth, I love the way you think. And if I'm a trader at home, I'm watching you. How do I find out more about you?
So best way to do that is follow me on Twitter at Gareth Soloway. I'm always posting little tidbits there, charts that I like, technical setups. And then if you like crypto, verifiedinvestingcrypto.com is the website I run. I give out all my crypto trades and I do a daily video. InTheMoneyStocks.com is my stock service there, Verified Investing Alerts it's called. And same thing, I give out trades and then I also post a daily video. So lots of ways to follow and just absorb every educational thing you can do. It has a manyfold impact on your future profits.
Awesome, Gareth. Well, it's always nice meeting with you. I'm excited that we're meeting more often than not. And so if you like what Gareth is doing here, make sure you give him a thumbs up. If you're watching him on YouTube, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our interviews that we do with each other or with Gareth and other interviews that I do as well. So thanks for joining us today, Gareth, and I will be talking with you soon.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, Blake. Take care.
Take care.
Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.